Maseches Bava Metzia Daf Nun Beis Amud Beis. Ad mutar lehachzir. Yeah. Up until when can you give back the item, or actually not the item, because over here the item is the coin. When you were given the wrong kind of coin, a coin that is missing, however you want to define the missing, but it's missing an amount that is significant. The coin is missing how much? 1/12, 1/24, 1/6, and it was given as if it's a full coin, but it's not a full whole coin. Then you have the right to give it back. Ad up until can we give back the coin and ask for a refund? The krochim, if you live in a big city, then what? Ad shiare, until you show it l'shulchoni, you show it to a banker, show it to a money changer. The kforim ad if it's a villages, if you live in a village, you have until Erev Shabbos. That's it. The Gemara now yet doesn't know what I already told you, and the question obviously is, Maishna besela de maflig, umaishna betalis de loy maflig. How come when we talk about sela, we differentiate it? Laflig, do you ever hear about the word miflaga? Yeah, each one is different to the other. So a sela, we differentiate between the village and the city. When it comes to the talis, any item such as talis, which means an object that you bought, then we say, no, there is no difference between the village and the big town, the big city. It's the same thing, and it can always change for what? You can always, there's one unanimous shiur of until you show your friend, until you show a friend, look, I bought that talis for that price, and he tells you, or they tell if it's good or not. We didn't differentiate between a village and a city. And when it comes to a coin, we differentiate between a village and a city. Why? Answers the Gemara, Omer Abaye, Kitna nami masnisin betalis bekrochintan. Says Abaye, really it's the same. En chinami. When we learned in the Mishnah, in the previous Mishnayos, that in a talis you have X amount of time to find out the price, meaning enough time to show your friends that the other soichrim, that was in krochin, which means yes, there is a difference. There is a difference between the big city and a small town or village, even when it comes to other items. Elamai, beforehand, we didn't go into detail. Now we go into detail, but really, according to Abaye, the coins and the other items are no different. Yet, why? The logic is that in the small places, people are less knowledgeable when it comes to prices. People don't really know how much a talis should be worth, or how much things should be worth, whether it's money, coins, or it's talasim, or it's shoes or socks, whatever it is. People in the village are more, provincial. They don't know so much. Okay. Rava says no. Rava says there's a big difference. There's a big conceptual difference between the coin and the other items. Why? A talis, kol in ishkim begavo. A talis, any person, it doesn't have to have MBA, even if the guy works with the cows in the kibbutz. A talis, even this guy, any guy knows kimle, he knows, he can identify begave in it. He knows how much it's supposed to be worth. Yeah, you just came from America 2 minutes ago. You don't know that the talis is supposed to be worth 600. You paid 700. Your other friends, the regular villagers, they would let you know. And therefore, there is no difference. Whether you live in a big city or you live in a moshav, in any event, you always have just enough time to ask your friends, and past that, you lost the opportunity. But sela, line starts with the word lay. There are two lay, one on top of the other. Lay, when the first lay. Sela, the money, the coin, kevan the lav kol inishkim lebegavo. Not everybody knows exactly the value of coins. Especially, we're talking in the olden days, where the coin is chipped, is missing, is eroded. You have to know very well how much it was eroded. V'chulei ela shulchoni. The only people are professional shulchonim, and no other people. So what? Hilkach. Therefore, the krochim, the ika shulchoni, in the big city, there's a shulchoni. I challenge you. Have you ever been to a kibbutz or a moshav, and you saw an entire bank there, not a small ATM or a mamish achosh of a branch of a bank? No. I've never been to any, Yeah, sure, maybe in America, no. Small town, a very small village, we have a whole bank branch over there, right? No, I don't think so. Very, very small. Okay. So back then there was no shulchani, there was no shulchani in the village, and therefore ad shiar l'shulchani. You have to wait until the villager, right, has what? Both villager and the town man and the big city boy, they both have to show to the shulchani. And therefore, in the city, there is a shulchani, go and show to the shulchani. I gave you, you sold me, let's say, Yitzchak, you sold me your nice jacket. I gave you a sela. The sela is questionable. You're not sure. So you show it, you go down to the Merkaz Mischari and you show it to the guy there, one of the money changer or the banks. You say, is this good, is bad, or what? And that takes how long? How long takes you with your car? Your wife will take you 5 minutes up, 5 minutes to 15, 20, half an hour. Bevakasha, half an hour passed. Why didn't you come to me before? That's your window of time. You have a shulchan nearby. But bekfarim, when you talk about the kfar, you talk if you live in a kfar, the lake of shulchani. In the villages where there is no shulchani there in sitio, there is no shulchani there in the place. Ad arvi shabbosas desalkin l'shuka. Only you have to wait. You have to let the villager give him more time until he will actually go to the city, yeah, where he's going to see a shulchani when on Erev Shabbos. They would do their shopping Erev Shabbos. So if you sold it to him on Sunday, between Sunday and Friday, everybody's going to see are not mumchim for money. They're not experts in money. And therefore, let him have at least one chance to meet a shulchani, which will be the next time he goes to town. And that is on Friday when he does his Shabbat shopping. And also will pop into the shulchani. Or some explain that's where he's going to give it to the shopkeeper. Sometimes shopkeepers also know, yeah, you'll be able also to see if you're the shopkeeper that sells him the cholent, whatever, something for Shabbos, that too is a way. But as long as he's not in touch with the world of commerce, which is up until Friday, you can't say, why didn't you come? You had no chance yet. And that's what the difference. Mashenken, when it comes to a talis or any other item, everybody can be chacham enough to know how much a talis is supposed to be worth, and they can tell you, and therefore there, whether it's krachim or kfarim, it's the same shiur of to show around. Now, I have a small question here. I have a small question. Maybe we're talking different times in history, but I didn't see it in the Rishonim, but it's I don't know why they say they go to town on Friday. It says that they go to town to do the shopping on Monday and Thursday. That's when they go to Beis Din, right? The people of town. Maybe not everyone goes to Beis Din. That's why. I thought they also go shopping Monday, Thursday. Maybe Friday everybody goes. Monday, Thursday only litigants or some people. Maybe Friday more people go. That's my question. Okay, so let's just continue. Weiter. What? Right. But it's Shuk or Beis Din. I remember vaguely from Megillah both. Yeah, Shuk and Beis Din. So if it comes Shuk, that's a problem, right? So I have a question. Why Friday? It should be Monday, Thursday. Also, no, Ksubas is the where the Beis Din sits Monday, Thursday. That's why you should marry her on Wednesday. But I'm relating to Megillah, where I think Leon is right. It says that they go to the marketplace on Monday and Thursday. Kach, I also remember. So, if the person recognizes the coin, yeah, then meaning what? Let's say Ellen gave me, no. I gave Ellen a bad coin, right? Ellen comes to me after 12 months and says, Akiva, you gave me a bad coin. Excuse me, you gave me a bad coin. I want it back. What would I say? After 12 months? Yes, says the Mishnah, you give it back. That what you mentioned it yesterday. Frag the Gemara, Heicha, where? Heicha means where. Where are we talking about that after 12 months you can actually still go back and claim back the bad coin? Ibekrochin, if you talk about the big city, Tel Aviv, London, New York, Hamart, Achar, Shulchani, you say until he shows the Shulchani, until he shows the shopkeeper, that's not 12 months. How long does it take you to get to the banker, to the shopkeeper? Yeah, the changer. Ibekforim, if it's villages, Amart Adar v'Shabbos, that's still Friday. Well, last time I checked, Friday is not after 12 months. So what are you talking about? Amar Rav Chizda, says Rav Chizda, midas chadus shonukan. Oh, we're entering now a whole interesting inyan. Midas chadus means, as we know, if you go above and beyond, If you want to be Hasidic, which means if you want to do more than the letter of the word, beyond the letter of the law, then you can give it, then should take responsibility. We're going to have a big disclaimer later, but you should take responsibility even way, way later if you recognize. In other words, if I know I gave Alan a bad coin, and I'm not a bad guy, I'm a nice guy, yeah, but I gave Alan the bad coin, and it comes after 12 months, I should still, not me'ikar hadin, but lifnim ashur sadin, I should recognize, realize, and compensate Alan for the bad coin that I gave him. Okay. If so, Ema Seifa. Look, keep reading, and get to the next line. See if it makes sense. It says there, Olav Elatar Oimes. Oh, that's a whole musag which appears every once in a while, which we've seen before. He only has Taromes over him. You want to know what's he and him? That's a good question. We're going to deal with that. But it says the only thing he has against him is taroimes. Taroimes basically means bad feeling, anger, whatever. What? Gripes. Yeah, right. In other words, the person is allowed to. The person, in case of taroimes, I checked up the Achronim yesterday. Not so chokhmah. Taroimes is, lefi most opinions, nothing real halachic. Taroimes means you're allowed to actually take an exception. It's not considered bad midas if somebody cheated you in a way that's not halachically really osir. Yeah, it's something that makes you feel bad, and you can even tell other people about it. It's mashma from Rashi. You can tell other people, I did business with that guy. He didn't do anything really wrong, not even mishapora, but I'm like, I have this sour feeling from dealing with him. Yeah, halacha has a definition for that too. I saw some achronim, one of them, if I'm not to authorize the thing, they said Torah almost means min hashamayim, you do have to pay. I'm not sure that's true halacha. In any case, the question is, leman. Who has anger over who? What's the story here? Il chosid. Oh, let's say the chosid means a tzaddik. Let's say I'm the chosid in the story. I gave Alan 2 years ago, even more than 12 months. Yeah, I gave Alan a year and a half ago a bad coin. He still remembers. Year and a half later, now we learn the sugiyah. Alan gives me the bad coin, and I say, you know what? I don't really have to give it back to you because from here to Merkaz Mischari to go to check it by the banker doesn't take a year and a half, right? Even if you walk slowly, but it'll still be nice to you. And the Mishnah does recommended by the Mishnah to, yes, give it back. I want to remind you what we'll see later, we saw before. What did the Mishnah say at the end? Ein ro, nefesh ro. Those who don't give back and are being very particular, yeah, is nefesh ro. I'm not sure if the guy who gives is the one who doesn't get, whatever. But lemaisa, yeah, the idea of being so nitpicking on coins is recognized in halacha, but halacha says it's just being miserly. It's being a miser. So if I don't want to be a miser, I want to be nice, I'll want to be the nice one, I'll be the chosid. But me, the chosid, I'll have a bad feeling about it. Why did I have to do that? Why did I have to go l'fnim mishur sadin? Frag the Gemara. Listen to this. This is a rule for life in psychology. I jumped when I saw this. Listen to this. Frag the Gemara. If so, il chosid loy kibul lekabla minei v'loy toromis te'avilei, which means don't accept it l'fnim mishur sadin and don't feel angry. Yeah, we have to read Rashi now. We have to read Rashi. You just have to. Rashi im lachosid. It's good few lines above where we are now. Line starts with mi hamisraim. Leman mi hamisraim. Who's the one being angry? Im lachosid kaomar diyesh l'toromis alamachzir. If the one who's being super saintly and overly good and so good, and he has anger over the one who gave it back, mi kofehu lekabel sheisraim. Who's forcing him to accept it so he gets angry? He's doing something above and beyond, and then he goes, why did I have to do it? Yeah? It's better not to accept it and not be such a goody-goody. Don't accept the bad coin because you're not mechuyev. You're not obligated. That's better. It's better than yes accepting it and then going around the whole market telling everyone, why did I have to do that? Why did this guy make me do it? That's a lesson for life. Lesson for life is many times people do things that they don't have to do. They're the ones who clean up. They're the ones who do the extra hard job, and then they complain. Don't do the extra good thing. Don't complain. Either don't do it or do it b'simcha. Don't be in that limbo of doing the extra bit, but with gritted teeth. So Mimela, back to the Gemara, doesn't make sense. I don't believe that Taromis is the relates to the chosid who accepted it although didn't have to. The ela lehaich the kibla minei. So who does have anger? The one that the chosid accepted the coin from? What? What a chutzpah! Chutzpah! Will a boss of the mekabla minei toromis tevilei? After the chosid did not have to accept it and still did accept it, you're still angry with it? What are you angry about? Say thank you, right? He didn't have to accept the coin. Why? Because a year and a half ago, he cheated you. Well, now he accepted it, and he's being very nice. You're the one who missed your opportunity billion years, and he's still accepting it. Where's the anger exactly? Says the Gemara, Hachika Omar. That's what the Sefer talks about. It's a whole new statement. A whole new statement. Acher, in case there is nobody chosid over there, it's just a Litvish guy accepted. Joking, yeah. If the person who accepted the coin really is the person who didn't accept it, which means the person that gave the bad coin, Ellen, I gave you a bad coin a year and a half ago. You come to me with a coin and I say, I'm listening, I'm Mishur Sadin. I'll go by the letter of the law. You have an hour or two to go to the bank, not more than that. You're coming after a year. I'm not mechuyev to accept it, right? So afal pi she'en mekabla himeno, although I don't accept it from you, and at the end of the day, a year and a half ago, I'm the one who actually gave you the bad coin. Ellen over me would only have anger and nothing else, which means the person cheated, but the one who waited too long, and then met a closed door from the side of the one who gave him the bad coin. Although the one who initiated it was the bad guy who gave the bad coin, but Lamaisa, you are the one who missed your opportunity. Therefore, all you have against the person who gave the bad coin is taroinis. And you can say, gave me a bad coin, I came after the time, I expected him to be a bit nicer and go beyond, above and beyond and be a chosid. He was not a chosid. And I feel a bit of a kvetch in my heart. I feel a little bit of anger, gripes. I feel a shtickle, they took an exception. And that is what the Mishnah says. Now, the question is it really mechuyev to, even the midas chadus, we're going to see has a mechloikis, when do you have to apply it, when you don't. But so far, that's what we're saying. You okay? Yeah. The chosid. Yes.
Nice and hunky-dory, everything's very good. And I would turn around to say to the whole what a wonderful person you
are. Right. But not everyone can be so forgiving. Maybe he needs the money. Right. Yeah. It's better to, yes, that's right. The Mishnah recommends to have midas chadus. It's a good thing, 100%. And you also get a better name. That's true. That's true. People who give bad service are very short-sighted, in this country, because nobody's going to recommend them. But, some people are just short-sighted. Weiter. V'nois l'maiser sheni ve'en choishesh she'eno elo nefesh ro'o. Which means, what did we say? When it comes to maiser sheni, and I may have to use a whiteboard soon, what happens when it's between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the person? Between people, if I give a coin to someone, I gave Ellen a coin, if the coin is missing a little bit, what's called a little bit, less than 1/24th, 1/12th, 1/6th, then you have no claims on me. Not minidin, not maker adin, not lifnim adin. No, that coin can still be given as a full coin, as a full seller. If you sold me items, yeah, Ellen, you sold me items that are worth 100 whatever. Let's say one seller is 100 whatever, yeah, and I can give you a seller that has 98, let's say, in it, and it's still considered okay. That's halachically nothing, insignificant. If I gave you a coin that's chipped a little bit more, chipped, eroded, call it whatever you want, it's smaller and has the value and size and weight and whatever, or of 94, let's say, of 92. 8%, 1/12th is 8%, told me. So let's go with the middle of the road, Rabbi Yehuda, 8%. So let's say instead of 100, it only has 92, right? 8%, okay. Then that's a red line. And then that happy note, yeah, then you can say, Akiva, I'm not accepting your coin, which is eroded to 92, and you have weights, you have scales, and you say, that's a red line. So then you're right, and I have to give you another coin. I have to complement, I have to give you something else. Very true. So now, that is only true between people. But even that dikduk of a coin that's eroded only 1/12th, let's say, which is not a lot, or 1/24th, or 1 something, that is nefesh ro. That's because people, unfortunately, tend to be nefesh ro, is kamtzanus, they're misers. People behave like misers. And halacha, interestingly, but the Eved recognizes it. Halacha can't demand of everybody to be tzaddikim and be generous. So ben Adam Lechavera, we recognize it in halacha. We say, fine, that's how the market goes, and Chazal even established it. But when it goes between you and the Kodesh Baruch Hu, what do you mean between you and the Kodesh Baruch Hu? We're getting all soppy over here. What do we mean? Ma'aser Sheni. Let's say, and if I need the whiteboard, if you need the whiteboard, let me know. Let's say I have grapes, yeah, worth 100 shekels, and those grapes worth 100 shekels. I'm choosing grapes on purpose because that's a Ma'aser de Oraisa, not the Rabbanon L'Kula Alma. And instead of taking the 100 shekel worth grapes to Yerushalayim, I don't have to schlepp it to Yerushalayim, yeah, my car, the trunk is broken, the boot, yeah. Then what? Then fine, then I can't take it. What do? I'm a I transfer the kedusha of the 100 shekel worth meiser sheni on a coin that's worth 100 sela, or a coin even smaller than that, or even a coin that's less than 92. I don't know how much less, but even if the coin in the market would not be recognized as sela, in halacha, when it's meiser vis-a-vis meiser, coin versus the kedusha of the meiser, and you have to transfer the kedusha of the fruit to the coin, then even if the coin is, let's say 90, for example, and not 100, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not a meiser, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom, and therefore he says that coin really a liba demis is kilo worth 100, and therefore your 100 shekel worth of grapes down to a certain point, which I'm not yet sure how, we'll see later, down to a certain point, if it's not punct, it's still okay. It's looked over, and we say you can still, yeah, mechalel 100 shekel worth for a coin that's really 100, although it's missing a bit and is really 90. We can still, glitch it over, can still turn a blind eye, and still, it's not even turn a blind eye, because really, it's worth 100. We still view that as insignificant, and we still see it as worth 100, even though it's not. Even on the market, the other guy wouldn't accept it, but Kadosh Baruch Hu does accept it. He sees that 100, and the change insignificant. That's begadol what we're saying here. What happens with the Meiser Sheni? It goes to your stomach. Meiser Sheni, you go with those coins, and with those coins, you're going to Yerushalayim Yerakodesh, inside the walls of the city. Be'ezras Hashem b'meir b'meinu amen. And there, inside the walls of Yerushalayim Yerakodesh, you go those coins and you buy food and only food. Which foods cannot you buy? Which foods can't you buy? Water, mushrooms, fish, because they're not gidula karka b'chlal. They don't grow from the ground in any shape or form. And everything else you can buy meat, you can buy fruit and vegetables, kol sheken, and eat it in Yerushalayim. By the way, just to accentuate and point and stress what we're saying here, yeah, it's interesting because that very same coin, which I was mechalel 100 shekel grapes on the coin. I go to Yerushalayim and I go to Chaim Yankel, the grocery in Yerushalayim, the green grocer in Yerushalayim. How much fruit will he give me for that? Not for 100. He'll give me only for 90. But it's still okay. We can still tanz both chasanis. Yes, klape Hashem, it's worth 100. Although klape Chaim Yankel and klape Yaron Atias, whoever is the green grocer there, they would not, they're regular people, they're mortals. And therefore they would accept it as it is in the market, which is less, but it's still okay. Yeah, we have different, different ways, different mechanisms. Ad Khan just explaining the pshat of the Mishnah. Amar of Papa, Shmamino. We hear from the second statement we made that the person who doesn't accept it is a kamtzan, meaning, I'm sorry, Alan, in this case we say, if I gave you a coin that is a little bit below what you accept, not 100, let's say 95, 94, 90, a bit less, yeah? Hayman Demuki Mazuzi, the one who stands over the money, the one who insists and says, I want the full shekel, the full sela, not even a 1/24th less, a 1/12th less, yeah? Mikri Nefesh Ra. That is considered, he's considered to be a miser, which means a halacha does encourage people to be like a Kadosh Baruch Hu and not be so makpid medakdek on the 1/12 or 1/24. When is that true? The Hanimili, that is true. Who? The Sagilahu. If the coin can actually, say the Rishonim, can be accepted b'sh'as adchak, which means, why is it that you don't accept my coin? You don't accept my coin because you say other people won't accept it, right? I'm part of a market, right? I'm part of a market. What can I do? I'm part of a market, and the other people won't accept it. I want to be your friend. I'm your friend from the Shiur. But if I give you a coin, says Ellen to me, I give it to Tim McKenzie or even to Chaim Yankel, They won't accept it, so what can I do? That is a valid taina. But if it can be accepted sagilahu, if it can be accepted by others bishas adchak, alidei adchak. Let's say if you, Ellen, once you received my money, and you know that's the only money I have, or only money I have now, and I have to do something with the money, you have to be more forthcoming and be not nefesh ra, as long as other people would accept it, even though they'll frown at it. In other words, let's say I give it to Ellen, and then he'll be able to convince Chaim Yankel and convince Yaron and convince the other people that they'll get the money, right? Yeah, even though it's a bit difficult for him, Halacha says, be a chosid. That's the opposite of chosid. Be a chosid, be lefnim shuras adin, and don't be a miser. That's what we say. Now, what? Kamtzan versus a chosid. It's the opposite. Kamtzan is a miser. Cheapskate, how do you call it? Yeah. So then, also American says cheapskate? Yeah. So, okay, I don't know American, English, I'm trying to be good with everybody. The boot, the trunk, all is good. So now what? I hope you have your trousers on. So now, one more thing. I want to tell you something interesting. When it comes to the chosid from before, what did we say before? And that's to do this more before we continue. What did we say regarding accepting the money after 12 months? That's really, really nice if I do, right? Yeah, Ellen comes to me and says, like, 12 months ago, you gave me. I could say, get out of here, buzz off, because 12 months, it's way, way after your time. But it's not nice to do that. But really, I should be Hasidic. I should be midas Chasidus, not misadin, and accept it. When is that true? Here too, the Rishonim connected to our Gemara, and they say that is only true. I can only be midas Chasidus if I can actually use it. Yeah, use the coin you gave me back. Use the coin that you gave me back, b'shas adchak. But if it's a coin that I cannot use at all, nobody would accept that coin, right? Then I don't have to accept it from me, even with this Chasidus. It's a big machlokes Rishonim. I'm only giving you one opinion, not to confuse you. In other words, even with this Chasidus has its limits. You get what I'm saying? That's what the Smach says. Sefer Mitzvahs, the Nosei Kelim and the Shulchan Aruch say that. Yeah, it's similar Reish Kav Zayin. Yeah, even when there's Chasidus, it's my fault to begin with. It's true, but it's been a very, very long time. You should have checked it. It was your due diligence, yeah, as the one accepting it. You didn't have your scales, right? You should have gone to check. You didn't go and check. Now you're coming after such a long time. Then I don't have to accept it. It will be nice and recommended to accept it as long as I'm not completely losing, because I can still use it. B'shas adchak b'diavad. That's what we say. That's one opinion. Well, let's follow that. Now let's talk back. Let's talk again. Let's go back to Ma'aser Sheni. What we just saw in the Mishnah, that Ma'aser Sheni and commerce between people are two different scales, right? Two different ideas. That helps Chizkiah. That endorses the opinion of Chizkiah. Domer Chizkiah says Chizkiah as follows: Ba lepoilto. Yeah. Let's say a person has a coin that's missing a little bit, not too little. It's missing, let's say, those 8%. Yeah, it's missing. It's 92 instead of 100. And Balaporta, you want to now change it for smaller coins, and you're now changing it with who? Well, the money changer. You go to the money store, as my daughter used to call it. You go to the money shop, to the bureau de change, to the money changer, and you change it porta beshavia. You can't force him to be nice to you, right? You can't force him to be a chosid. He's not a chosid, he's litvish. So how much would he give you? 92. He won't give you 100, right? He'll go min hadin. Okay, that's life. If you mechalal it, in other words, if you came to be mechalal ma'aser sheni, and you have 100 shekel worth of grapes, you treat that 92 coin as if it's 100, because really, aliba de'emes, according to objective truth of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, it's really worth 100. Should be looked at it that way. If the whole world wasn't so miserly, and therefore, when it's a Kadosh Baruch Hu between him and me, kilu, he then enochnami, I can be mechalel for 100, even though it only contains 92. Okay. So that I said we're going to touch upon that, but that question will never really come to fruition. Very valid question. But before the question will even be asked, we're going to change direction. We're going to run away. It's a valid point. Frag the Gemara, Maika Omar. The question is, the question was, what kind of chiddush is he telling me? What did Chizkiah tell me more than the Mishnah already told me before? right? The Mishnah more or less says it, answers the Gemara. Hachikomer. This is what Chizkiah is telling me. Afal bik shebala porta beshovio. The very, very same coin, you tell me, that very, very coin, as I already told you, I killed the story. I was too quick. That it's not two different stories. This very coin, which I was mechalel all 100 grapes on, yeah, okay, 100 shekel grapes on the coin. This very coin, I'm going to take it to Yerushalayim from Beit Shemesh, going to take the bus to the old city, eat it in the old city, the Meister Sheni, and I can't eat the coin. I don't think so. People do it in circuses. What do I do with the coin? I take the coin. It's a wholesale. It's a big coin, and I take it and I go to the money changer and change it to prutos. Remember, we learned that, and then I buy fruit and vegetables. How much will I get for it? 92. The very same coin. Nevertheless, when I was mechalel before my journey, when I was still in Beth Shemesh in RBS, and I had to be mechalel, I mechalel beyofe. I treat the coin as if it's 100, and I place, so to speak, 100 shekel worth of grapes in that coin, even though it's 92. So the very same coin can play both roles. Okay, fine. A chiddush. He's like, he's stressing the point of the Mishnah more. Now comes the big bang. Here comes the big shock. Frag the Gemara. Lememra, are you telling me, Lememra, are you coming to tell me the Sava Chizkiah, that Chizkiah is telling, that Chizkiah thinks the Mizalzelinen b'Meister Sheni? Now, Mizalzel in modern Hebrew and in classical Hebrew also means to belittle, to cheapen, to mock. To cheapen, to belittle. Here it doesn't exactly mean that. Mezalzelinen means to treat it cheaply, monetary speaking. Is Chizkiah telling me that really Meister Sheni is cheapened, which means I take 100 shekel grapes of Meister Sheni, right? And I put them, imagine yourself the coin, all the grapes have to fit into the coin, right? So to speak, and no grape should be outside the coin. What happens? I'll ask you a question now. What happens if I really went overboard? Let's say, as Ellen correctly says, there should be some kind of limit. Let's have 200 shekels grapes, and I mechalel them on 100 shekel coin. Let's say, what's going to be with the other 100? It's going to be a huge problem. They're not mechulal, right? And are you asking what happens with the Meister Sheni? I will take the coin and I'll buy stuff in Yerushalayim. What happens to the grapes that stayed in the Shemesh? They were divested of their kedusha, and I just eat them normally in the Shemesh and not in Yerushalayim. If those coins were not properly mechulal, if those coins were not properly, the kedusha wasn't transferred in a coin and accordingly, according to the value, that those grapes stayed with the kedusha, and grapes that still have kedushas ma'aser sheni, to eat them outside Yerushalayim, big sin. You're not allowed to do that. Not even if you live in Haranauf or Ramot Shkol or Erhavia, anywhere outside the old city, it's also to eat those grapes if they're not mechulal. So we're playing with fire over here. So you, Chizkiah, you're telling me what? You're telling me, in Hebrew, there's a newish expression. It's like alakaskas, like hair splitting. You're telling me that if I have 100 shekels grapes, I can be mechal on the 100 shekel coin. Not only that, just hair splitting, even a 100 shekel coin, that's not really 100 shekel coin. It's even a bit less, but we view it as 100 shekel. I can take all 100 shekel grapes, be mechal their kedusha on 100 shekel coin. Is that what you're telling me? Okay, I'll show you that Chizkiah, I could maybe survive it, but Chizkiah himself contradicts himself. Says the Gemara, V'omer Chizkiah. Chizkiah told us on a different occasion. Meiser Sheni, a different question here. Meiser Sheni she'en bo shvei pruta. What happens if a person happens to have, from some reason, I don't know why, he bought one little cluster of grapes from Chiloni, and he was Meiser most of it. Now he has half a grape, a quarter of a grape that has to have Meiser Sheni, that has Kedushas Meiser Sheni on it, and it's less than shvei pruta. It's worth less than 10 agorot, whatever shvei pruta is today, okay? What do you do with that? You're not allowed to be mechalel the value of Meiser Sheni that's less than a pruta. We're going to learn later from Psukim. There's a minimum charge for credit card. I think you can't pay 1 shekel credit card in some places, right? It has to be substantial enough, for the kedusha to actually apply to the coin. So if it's less than shvei pruta, you're in trouble. You can't just do a whole new chilul on a new coin. So you can't start a new coin. to give the kedusha on that. What do you do then? Oimer, he should say what he should do. He should say, "Hu v'chumoshoi." Now, the less than shava pruta that's in this grape plus the fifth. Which fifth? Who has to pay an extra fifth, which is with the extra fourth? Lo mshaneh. We'll see later. Who has to pay extra fifth ma'aser sheni if I do chilul over my own fruit? Remember the tricky guy who was standing, who thought he was naked in the middle of the thing, right? He gets his friend to do the ma'aser sheni for him. If I mechalel your ma'aser sheni, I don't have to give chomish. If I mechalel my own ma'aser sheni, the Torah says, "Kilu it's a knas. Don't do the chilul. If I do chilul, I have to be mechalel plus an extra fifth." What do I do on all that? Mechulal al ma'aser rishonos. What does that mean? Which with the first money. What do you mean first money? To dedicate new coin, new money for that tiny little lesson shepherd, I can't. We'll see that later in the drasha. Trust me on that one. What do I do? Ever heard of people taking rides, jumping on the bandwagon? That's what we do here. Let's say if I have at home money, real money, a wholesaler, that has the kedusha of real grapes worth 1,000 shekels, yeah, and we can join now that lesson shverpruta, the little tzitzikel, that one we can actually join him and say his kedusha is joined, is mechulal, is added on, so to speak, the empty space of the first money. Meaning, continues, which means a person normally doesn't. If you're good from person, what do? You always want to do the best, the better, the best you can, which means we assume that if you have, let's say, 1,000 shekel grapes on a big golden 1,000 shekel thing, you probably were mechalel in such a way that leaves more room in the coin. You mechalel your 1,000 shekel grapes on a coin that's worth 100,000 plus. The coin should always be worth more than the fruit. Now that you assume that, and you have, hey, wait a minute, says a little trempist, the little lesson shvepruta. Now we have room in the coin, in the value of the coin that's left on that lesson shvepruta. We can now jump and add that to the big coin. Yeah. In other words, let's look at it this way. Yeah. If this coin is worth, let's say, if I have grapes that are worth how much? That are worth 100. Okay, they're worth 100. Okay, there's 100. Normally, when I transfer the kedusha, I would transfer the kedusha on something worth 100 plus. Why? Because I want to be sure that, looking graphically, yeah, the grapes should not, if they were physical, yeah, the grapes, yeah, those grapes should not fill every space. I'm leaving some value in just in case. Yeah, because I don't want to be just 100 over 100. Because if the value is a little bit too little, then some of the grapes will be left outside. If the coin was smaller, if the coin was a little bit smaller, some of the grapes are out of the circle, and then they are treifa for me to eat them in b'chemesh, and I will eat them in b'chemesh. That's all for. Get me? So the assumption is of the very same chizkiah. The assumption is that b'maisa sheni Hashem can be nice and forgive. You'd give him this rachmim. But lemaisa, people don't work that way and shouldn't. You should dafka leave more room for the meiser, bigger coin value over smaller value of grapes, of fruit. And here's Chizkiah, you're talking just the other way. You're telling me, no, I have 100 shekel grapes, and I'm mechalel them on something that's just about maybe a little less 100. How could that work? In your own shita. And says the Gemara, and we change it completely. My yofe, my beyofe. You know what Chizkiah meant when he said change it for the good one, for the big one? Betoiras yofe. Betoiras yofe, no. Really just the other way around. Which means that he has a completely different shot in the Mishnah. When it comes to Ma'aser Sheni, you should treat Ma'aser Sheni as Ma'aser Sheni should be treated as if it was Chaim Yankel the greengrocer or Chaim Yankel the money changer. Just the opposite. Which means what? That if I have Meiser worth 100, then I should be giving it on coin worth 100 or even more, but no less. Just the opposite. Now you may ask, what's the chiddush? So at the end of the day, there's no difference between Meiser Sheni and everybody else. So what's the Mishnah coming to tell me, right? The Mishnah seems yes to say something about Ma'aser Sheni, right? If Ma'aser Sheni is just like Joe Schmo, meaning you are particular and you should be because you're risking your Ma'aser Sheni being left out of the circle. Answers the Gemara. It's not a question. I phrased it as a question, as a hidden question. The trei zil lo mezilzilin bei. Two zilzulim, two cheapening we don't do. Which other cheapening? Which other zilzul is there? Says Rashi something genius. I wouldn't have dreamt it without Rashi, like most of what Rashi says. Everything Rashi says. Do you remember? You asked me yesterday, Leon, about do coins always have, inscription, embossed, coin minted? The answer is absolutely yes. In the times of the Gemara and the Mishnah, all the time. However, what happens? You tell me if somebody has an asimon. Yeah, I don't know how long you've been here. Yeah, asimon, good old asimonim. Asimon is a coin that has no. Yeah, it's not defaced. It just never wasn't yet minted, unminted. Yeah, yet. So that coin is given as a symbolic thing for the mikveh, for the something to show a token to show, I'm part of the game. I'm going to come to the mikveh tomorrow, right? Can you be mechalel meister sheni on money that has no shape, that is just plain? Seems no. Oh, and it says mufurish, and we saw it many times. It says v'tzarto hakesef beyodecha. Literally meaning v'tzarto hakesef beyodecha means you should collect and bundle the money in your hand and go to Yerushalayim. But the Gemara darshans v'tzarta. What's tzura? Shape. The money should have shape, meaning coined, which means really minted. B'chulei, yeah. And that coin should be in circulation, real money, and not just a nice piece of silver, like a nugget or something, but not even a round one. That's the chiddush. One zilzul we do already, because when I used an eroded coin that was supposed to be a nice new shiny sela, and it's been eroded, right? Then what? Then I would have said maybe this is like an asimon, because it's not a really nice coin. Maybe that's also a zilzul. It's a little bit of a zilzul because it's not really the ideal coin that you have in mind. You take your, excuse my language, lousy coin, the old one that's eroded, not nice looking, and just about you give it to the chosid who is very nice to you. That's not your best coin. So maybe one would have thought that's an asimon. Maybe it's been degraded to a simon because it's borderline, not nishka sheinizach. It's not nice money. Kamash Malan, you can give it to the Ma'aser Sheni. You can give it to Ma'aser Sheni because by them it's only Ayin Ra, Nefesh Ra. Get what I'm saying? The etzem, the coin, is a nice coin. It's a good coin. People don't accept it or they frown upon it because people are not crazy over, being stuck with money that's not amazing. That goes all around. Somebody in the market is miser, and that affects everyone. But Aliba, the MS, it is really a nice coin, yeah, and therefore it's not called an asimon. That's why it's bichlal kosher to use. But how much is it kosher to be used? That can negate 100, only can negate 90. Change direction. Hence, our question of before doesn't apply anymore. Because really, it should be treated as 92, and if it's less, if it's 90, then 90. If it's 60, 60, until 49, where it's strafe already. Remember, if it's less than half, it's strafe. That's the answer. And the okay, good. No. A real asimon, no. If it's mamish unminted, you're not allowed to. This is not an asimon, that's a chiddush. The chiddush is this is not classified as an asimon, but a real asimon, very treif to use. No, you can't use it, Ma'aser Sheni. Oh, beseder. That's a borderline asimon. That's a kind of coin that people don't accept or don't accept the real value. So it's devaluated in a way that's like it's a havamina. I can hear somebody asking the shiloh, so the Mishnah wants to avoid the shiloh. Yeah. Gufa. Now, what does Gufa mean? We focus on something that beforehand was mentioned as a side point. Yeah, now was in the margin, now it's in the limelight. Now it's in the stage. We're going now to deal with a actual issue as a central issue. We centralize it now. Gufa. Amar Chizkiya. What did Chizkiya say? We just saw now. Ma'aser Sheni she'en bo shve pruta. A Ma'aser Sheni that has less than shove pruta. Oimel. What do you do with that? You can't really dedicate a new coin for that one. It's not valuable enough by the Torah. You say hu v'chumoshoy, that value of 5 agorot, whatever, plus a fifth, yeah, that I have to give because I'm doing my own chilul. Mechulal al Maser Rishonos. Yeah, Mechul Maser Rishonos. You have to be Mechalel and yeah, use it. Use other money. Which other money? If you have at home, what do you have at home? Other coins that had Maser Sheni Mechulal on them. We assume the way people behave and should behave is what? Is give more space, right? All 100 shekel coins should be mechulal on a coin that's 100 plus, right? Now the tiny little grape, that less than shve pruta, is such a cute little one, less than shve pruta. This one should now be added and takes a ride on the bandwagon. Is tofes tramp and is now added to the coin. That's what we're saying. Yeah? Okay? We assume that there's space left, so to speak, value wise. Now the lesser pruta, join him in. For him to join an existing chilul is okay. He can start his own company. His own chilul is too little, is less than shepruta. Good? Are you everyone happy? Good? You invite. Frag the Gemara, Meisivi. We're not going to finish the question today, but we're going now to have a brisa that gives you a lot of general information. We're going to get some general knowledge over here, and then at the end of the story, we'll realize why are we bichlal attacking Chizkiah. Meisivi. So now this is a Mishnah. There are Mishnahs in Bikurim, which I haven't seen in a long time. They compare and differentiate between three things: Truma, Bikurim, and Meiser. Truma, what is Truma? When we say Truma, what do we mean? Anybody? Truma Gdola is what? Goes to the coin. How much is it? It's one. No, 2 out of 100 is 1%. Yeah, echad michamishim, echad mishishim, echad marboim. 2%. 2% give or take. That goes to the coin. That's Truma. There's Truma. There's Bikurim. What's Bikurim? Way before. You're still in the field. The very, very, very first matano goes to the kohen. You take it to Beis Hamikdash, and the kohen and his family may eat it. Where do they eat it? In Yerushalayim. They can eat it inside the walled city, right? Bikurim, the very, very first te'ena, the first grapes, you see them, oh, they're the ones who are budding first. And yeah, you say, hey, buddy, and you give it, you tie a thing around it, and you put it in the basket, the whole zach, you take it to Yerushalayim. When do you bring Bikurim? From Shavuos until Sukkot, with saying the beautiful text, between, yeah, the whole thing you say with Bikurim, and between Armi Ovid, very nice, and from Sukkot till Chanukah, you still bring Bikurim, but without saying the thing, because it says V'samachto, until Zman Simcha. After Sukkot, it's not Simcha anymore, it's already past Zman Simcha. So Truma, Bikurim, and Meiser, we're going now to compare or differentiate between Truma and Bikurim that have certain halachic qualities, as opposed to Meiser. Meiser Sheni that has different qualities. You know what Meiser Sheni is, you know everything here. Truma v'Bikurim, says the Mishnah, Chayovin Alein Misa, yeah, one who eats them, he gets to die early. Nice. Which means if you're not a Kohen. Where is the Kohen? Are you a Kohen? No. Okay. If the Kohen is missing today, so everybody in the room here, if we eat Truma Chas v'Sholom by Mazid, intentionally, if we eat Truma or Bikurim, there's no Bikurim today, then if we Esroel, a Zar, a Zor, eats it, you're not a Kohen, a non-Kohen eats it, gets Misa B'dei Shamayim. Misa B'dei Shamayim is opposed to chorus, it's not 50, it's 60. Who wants to die before 60? Chas v'Sholom. And therefore what? Yeah, 52 and more. Yeah. Then what? You say, Seder, that's B'mezid. The Choimish, what's the Choimish? What happened if you ate it by mistake? You really didn't know that this is Truma. You didn't know that that's Bikurim. Then what? Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. Somebody else also gets Misa if he eats B'mezid, and that's the Kohen. Kohen's supposed to eat Truma and Bikurim. What happens if the Kohen, he gets a trip to Switzerland? Yeah, a Kohen, if he ate it Betuma, the Kohen became Tome, even Tumas Sheretz. Don't tell me what did he do in the Levaya. He didn't go to the Levaya. His wife told him, if you don't clean the Kohanim are not allowed to be Tome Lemeis. But his wife told him, if you don't take the dead rat from that back room, that's it, I'm divorcing you. For a Kohen to be divorced is a very big shtoch. So now he had to take the dead rat. He's Tome. Like this, yeah, of course, with the snow cool, the tail. He's Tome. And without going to the mik, he actually ate Truma or Bikurim, dead meat, excuse the expression. It's Chayv Misa B'dei Shamayim. He'll be as dead as the mouse. Yeah. What? Because a tevel includes truma. Thank you. You got right. It's chadmisa. Yes, right. Now the choimish. What's choimish? What happens if that doesn't apply to kohen? Doesn't apply to kohen. What happens if it was a real honest mistake? I had no clue I was eating bikurim or truma. I really didn't know. I'm religious. I didn't know. Happens then? What do you bring? You bring choimish ve'osham. You bring a korban. You bring a korban of the one who ate truma be 1 minute. No, I'm not sure. No, no. I'm not sure you bring the korban. No, the zar that eats shoygig. No. You have to. No. You have to pay back. You have to pay back the amount that you took. Let's say 8 grapes worth 10 shekels, and really there were truma. I give it back to the kohen 10 shekels plus a fifth, which is let's say plus 2. Yeah. Okay. Now I don't think there's korban there. No, the korban is meila. I don't think that's called meila. I have to check this actually. If it's meila, then you do. I'm not sure eating truma is meila. Meila is from Beis Hamikdash, so that's actually a big hole in my knowledge. But I have to check that. But for sure, you bring the value plus a fifth. You have to give it back to the kohen. Whether you have to give a korban, I don't think so. Oh, art school. Art school is my leader. Absolutely, every day. I love art school. I have a T-shirt, so I love art school. Nun Gimel, the asurim lezorim. Now the Mishnah is telling you know what? A zar is not allowed to eat it. What? Rashi Tosfos both raise an eyebrow like that. We just said the zar is going to die if he eats it. And they said, a zar is not allowed to eat it. What's the chiddush, right? It's like saying, you get me? It's topsy-turvy. It's like say, in America, in Texas, I don't know, in Saudi Arabia, if you kill someone, they kill you, right? And you're not allowed to kill someone. Of course. If they killed you, mashma, it's not allowed. You get the question? You already told me the guy dies if he ate it. What do you have to tell me? It's osir. Rashi and Tosfos give 2 different answers. Rashi says, asurim lezorim enochinami is not a chiddush, but this whole body relationship of comparing truma to bikurim is because they have an arch enemy called Meiser. We're coming to contrast and say by Meiser, there's not even prohibition to eat it by Zar. You get what I'm saying? In other words, we're not entering now Meiser. It comes to tell me those things are also to Zar, it's Truma and Bikurim, and I know it's not a Chiddush. We just want to stress it because sooner we're going to differentiate that to a Meiser in where Meiser is mutar for a Zar, as we're going to explain later. There's no Isser. Now, what about Tosfos? Tosfos says something else. Tosfos says, you tell me, if you ate less than kazais of truma, are you chayv misa b'idei shamayim? Less than kazais? No. Is it allowed? No. Very nice. How do you know? Who told you? In Pesach, if I eat 1 crumb of blinches, my daughter made me blinches for my birthday. If I have a little bit of blinches on Pesach, can't stand the Yitzhar. And am I allowed to eat it or not on Passover? Not. Of course, is a machlokes Rabbi Yochanan Rish Lakish. At the end of you're right. I'm telling you the source. At the end of Yoma Daf Pei Gimel Ein Daled. It says over there, in Daf Ein Daled, Rabbi Yochanan Rish Lakish argue whether chetzi shiur, if you don't have the entire kazais but less, half, quarter, or any fraction, or even 1 crumb, is that also midoraisa or midorabonon? But everyone agrees it's also. We pass on Rabbi Yochanan also midoraisa. It's also midoraisa. There's no punishment. 1 crumb, another crumb. You're not chayiv. It's osir. Nobody's going to do anything to you. Maybe malchus, the rabbanon, but the isur koles or the isur bidei shamayim, that misa, that only happens when you hit the ceiling of an entire kazais, and that's what it says over here. Meaning what? When you ate an entire kazais of the bemezid, he says, I don't care. I'm not a kohen. I don't care. I'm not a kohen. I'm going to have fresh, all these anovim, a whole kazais plus kabetza, kekoiseves, you chayv misa. If you had half a grape, half a kazais, then it's also midoraisa like Rabbi Yochanan. And that's a chiddush. I wouldn't have known that, right? Now, vehen, nichse kohen. Oh, now, not everything you give a kohen or a levi is called their money. Which means if I gave the kohen grapes or whichever, I'm stuck with grapes, can be whatever, any of Shiva Samina, any fruit, the Rambam, and it became his, it's not just his to eat like a korban, it's not just his to be eating, actually it's his for everything. He can, let's say this kohen is a single guy, Finally, he met his bashert, very nice, and he doesn't have a ring. He wants to be original. He can tell the lady, Haret Mukudeshes li ba'anovim elu kedas Moshe Israel. Yeah, in other words, they're his not only for eating, they're his completely. Yeah, to be Mekadesh a woman, to be Makadish for other intentions and purposes. Yeah. So that's the other thing. The oilim be'echadumea, which means what? Oh, you tell me if I have a tray for a piece of chicken and it fell into a plate, into a whole goulash, a whole mixture of kosher chicken, and there was one piece of none of treifa chicken, can't be recognized. Can't be recognized. How many kosher pieces of chicken do I have to have in order to allow me to eat the whole thing? I knew the 60 came. No, I knew art school doesn't always help you, and 60 is not 60. I was born 71. I don't know about the 60. 60 is something else. Two. Two, don't tell your wives. The women don't like to hear that kfira thing of the Gemara and the Shulchan Aruch. If you have three pieces of chicken, one dry, there's difference between dry and wet. If you have two dry pieces of chicken that are kosher, mahadin, bedatz, and rubin, and you have one trefi piece of chicken, looks the same, smells the same, feels the same, unless you're a big tzaddik, you can't tell the difference. Me'ikar din, you can eat all three in one go. Me'ikar din, you can't one if there one. Because roiv is enough. 60 is when the flavor, the time came in. And that's all different story, no time for that. Masha'enken, midorabonon, says Tosfos, when it comes to truma and bikurim and other things, I'm not entering now, or other things, so there you have to have 100. Yeah, one grape of truma fell into 100 grapes or 101. I'm not sure the one is with or without. Then only then it's misbatel. Yeah, but if you have a pile of 99, 98 grapes to be safe, 98 grapes I have here, I counted them, and one of truma fell into that, making 99 traits. The whole thing, a coin may eat it if it's tahor. Yeah, but eyes in Israel, it's not misbatel barov. Rabbanan made a special gzera on truma. I think because truma is people are less scared. I don't remember why. I have to check out why. Rabbanan made the gzera by truma and bikurim. Their beetle is not barov, but way more, 100. You have to have 100 against the suffix. You may ask a question: why is bikurim and truma such buddies? Says Rashi, you know why? Because bikurim are called truma. The Torah defines bikurim and truma. Rashi brings the pasuk. It says the trumas yodcha el bikurim. When the Torah refers to bikurim, it calls it trumas yodcha. What's truma? What you lift, what you bring and lift to Hashem. What you elevate, laharim, truma. So that truma is so because the Torah calls bikurim truma. That's why buddies they have. Give me two more. Give me two more. The teunin rechitzas yadayim, which means what? I'm not going to the details now. Right? Do you wash your hands before a bread meal like Orthodox Jews? Well, the makor is for truma. The original gzera, yeah, was Shabbos Daf Yudalid, was for truma. If somebody eats truma, kochim, yeah, right, Rabbi Cohen, yeah. So then the original was for truma. Truma, you have to be b'kedusha. Truma and bikurim, you have to wash your hands even if you know you're tahor, as opposed to meiser. If you eat meiser, let's assume now it's meiser sheni. Meiser, you don't have to. Yeah, let's say I eat regular meiser sheni in Yerushalayim, or the fruit. I brought the fruit to Yerushalayim. I eat them there. I don't have to do the special Til Sinai. The reason why I do it on bread is because later on it extended to regular food of chulin. Now, one more, ve'harev shemesh, which means if a kohen became tome, that's the first Mishnah Broches, right? Yeah, that's I'll call no. Me'mausai kohen shma ba'amin, kohen mechlas l'chom tumason, which means what? The kohen became tome, goes to the mikveh. When it happened 10:28 in the morning. The kohen became tome. He wants to eat truma. He goes to the mikveh at 11. Can he eat truma? What does he have to wait for? Sunset. What? For the evening, sunset. Sunset says the question. But the Maisa, he has to wait until the end of the day. It's before Shubo Hashemesh V'Toyer. That's true about Truma and Bikurim. It's not true about Maisa. One more line. Thank you for being so generous. Harei Elu B'Truma Bikurim. All the above halachas apply to Truma and Bikurim. But She'en can be Meiser. And Meiser is different. Yeah, Meiser doesn't have all these qualities we saw. Meiser doesn't share any of the above. As we're going to explain, Mirat Hashem on Sunday. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all your good wishes and for being part of this Shiur, Shkoyach Gadol, and best brachas to everybody. Good Shabbos.